Hello, my kosher friends. Welcome. If it's your first time here, glad to have you. Very glad to have you back if you're returning. So we have a mess of a counter tonight because we've got 3 dishes we're working on. We've already got a barbecue sauce on the heat. We're going to be using that over these king oyster mushrooms. These have already been boiled in a veggie stock and cooled. So that way we get a little more flavor in them. We get them nice and soft. We're going to shred them. That's why we have our fork here. In our barbecue sauce, we have this chili paste. Now this chili paste is made from these chilies. We have a guajillo, we have an ancho, we have some chipotle. Chipotles are smoked jalapenos. They give a really nice depth and heat. The ancho is just richness, a little bit of a different kind of heat from the guajillo, but this is not an overly spicy paste. And we aren't using it straight. Now, when we make that paste, we soak those, we don't soak, we cover those peppers in a pan with water and cook it until the water's about halfway down. So just to simmer until it's about halfway down, maybe about a quarter of the water. And then we blend it until it is smooth like this. We're also going to be making a vegan banana pudding. We've got 3 bananas in here. And we have, and I'm just going to show you what's in here. We're going to talk about this. We're making a vegan mac and cheese. And of course, everything we do is gluten-free. So I'm going to start with the obvious. Dijon mustard, that's about 2 tablespoons. That is about a heaping teaspoon, that's new, of our chili paste. We've got about 15, 16 ounces of chickpeas with their cooking water. These were 4 tiny sweet potatoes. That's about like a cup. If you were to mash it down. Handing that back to you, Becca. And then we're going to be throwing a whole bunch of things in there. I left an ingredient on the side. That is going to get some nutritional yeast. I haven't put salt in there yet. We're going to go ahead and put the salt in because we want a little bit of salt in there. That also gets some vinegar. So we have some apple cider vinegar here. This is about a 1/4 cup roughly. We're going to put just a bit of it in to start with and see how it tastes once we get things blended. We have some spices here. We have some white pepper. We have some granulated garlic. We have some onion powder. Now that is also the last of our onion powder. So I'm going to put all that pepper in. That's about a teaspoon. That is about 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. And then I just want a teaspoon of the onion powder. I'm saving some of it here because, to be honest, since it's the last of it, I didn't have any for my spices for the barbecue sauce. And we've done our vinegar, we've done I feel like I'm missing the nutritional yeast. So let's get that in here. Now the nutritional yeast, this is what gives it a cheesy flavor. So I like to put a lot in. I'm going to put between 1/4 and 1/2 cup, and then we're going to see how that tastes in just a minute. And we are ready to puree this. Now, what we want here is something very smooth. It's going to be creamy. It's going to go over all of the macaroni. So we're going to start that right now. If we plug in the food processor. First rule of cooking, plug in the food processor. And there went our light. There we go. There will be mistakes made tonight. I am fine with that. I hope you are. So let's try that again. We're going to pause for a moment. We're going to scrape it down. And now off to the side, something you don't see. I've got about, it was about 1.75 cups of dairy-free milk. We're using an oat milk that I had going for the banana pudding. I need a little bit here. I'm low on what I have there because it's been cooking for a while. Now we're adding some oat milk here because we need to smooth this out. We want it nice and creamy. We're going to taste it in just a minute, but let's try to get this in here and smooth it out some more. All right, and another scrape. Let's see how we're doing. We want this to be, that is not there yet. We need some more milk. Let's get that in. Needs a lot more than I expected. All right. So, well, actually, no, not more than I expected. That's about right. Because I just need a little bit of what's left in there for the pudding. Just giving a quick check. Not quite. Okay, so we're going to be grabbing more milk for the pudding in just a second. I needed all this for here. And, excuse me while I turn back on you while this is running. There we go. So I'm going to grab that camera from Becca and let's show you the consistency. You can see how smooth this is, how creamy. This is going to make an excellent cheese for mac and cheese. We're going to taste it though, make sure I've got all my seasonings right. I need a splash more vinegar. And the cheesiness is good. It just needed a little bit more bite. And I think that's going to do the job here. Let's knock that off. Give it one more whir. Let's give it one more shot as I drop my tasting spoons all over the counter. So again, you can see nice pourable consistency, really pourable. That's nice. Yes, I'm throwing my spoons in to the sink. I just need a little salt. And that will do it. Get that mixed in. Handing the phone back to Becca. All right. So, I'm going to go ahead and put this right into a pan. I've got the pan on just low so it can start heating a little more quickly. And we're going to scrape that in just a second here. I've committed myself to making a mess. All right, let's get this over there. Now, once this starts to get nice and warm, I've already cooked the pasta off. We're going to put the pasta right in there. And as much as we can get out of there. There's more I could get out of there, but I'm not going to mess around with it. So, and then lid on the pot. Get that heated up. So we're going to go to the barbecue sauce next. Very quickly. So what you see we have here, now I've been using a strainer as a splatter guard. It's not been doing a great job. Nothing does a great job against tomatoes. So we have a nice sauce working here. So again, we had the tomato paste, and that's pretty strong. I know this needs a little bit more syrup. So I'm going to put that in right now. It needs all of these spices. So what we have here, we have garlic powder, we have allspice ground, we have white pepper, we have coriander, and we are taking what's left of our onion powder because we were at the end of the onion powder. All that goes right the heck in. I'm going to put it back on heat, give it a good stir around. I'm going to check for flavor in just a moment. And it is a little thicker than I want, and probably going to thin it out in just a moment. I just need another tasting spoon. Oh, that's good. That's good. Oh, I'm getting a lot. Okay. Yeah, no, this is really good. I'm getting a hint of smoke. I'm getting a hint of heat. This is not a very hot barbecue sauce. You can see how thick it is. I am going to add just a splash of water in here for a moment and let that just simmer down a little. Because you see how silky that is getting now that I've done that. So now what we used for the tomatoes, we used what's called a passata. I probably used about a cup and a half. Just start with maybe 2 cups because it does cook down. When we do cut over to the stove later, you're going to see splashes everywhere. It's been that kind of night. So, next thing we're going to do, let us shred our mushroom. So, actually, I'm going to put a couple aside here. So these were significantly bigger when we started. I will have those pictures posted on the site so you can see what everything looked like before we got going. And I did trim the ends off. I might not have trimmed quite far enough down because I'm hitting stem that I can't get through. So we'll fix that in just a second. But you see how beautifully this shreds up. Yeah, I could have cut that stem off a little bit further than I did. This should go all the way down. Get that out of the way. There's so much on this counter tonight. I actually need to pause on the mushrooms. We have to jump over to the oat milk because I have lost so much milk there. I did get some more. I need to put a little bit in here so that this will blend a little bit more than that. That has reduced so much. We need even more milk in the pot. So, this recipe will be written down. But we had a lot more milk when we started. It took a while for me to get going here. So very quickly, we are going to puree this banana mix. We have a flax egg on the counter there, which I'm going to use to help thicken it. I've got some cornstarch. If I think I need it, we'll make a slurry. But I wanted to get, you know, that kind of almost eggy consistency. We do put a pinch of salt in there. That's going to help enhance the flavor. We're going to sweeten it with about a tablespoon of maple syrup, give or take. Vanilla, because vanilla just brings out all the flavors. It enhances other things. And we're going to do, works out to about a teaspoon when you do 2 capfuls. And I'm going to turn the heat back up under this a little bit. Let's get pureeing. It is not quite there yet, just one more. All right, that's about as smooth as we're going to get that. And now this is going to go right into this pot, which has had, well, it's had an additional dose of milk into it, because we had reduced it way too far before. And French whisk. I'm going to whisk that in. I may be making a cornstarch slurry in a few minutes. This has got to cook and thicken. The flax egg should help it do that. I will probably put a cornstarch slurry in there in a minute. This is going to go on medium heat for a little bit. And we're going to continue on this. Now, I did need to trim that last extra bit of stem off that I should have done before, but it does hold it together when it's cooking. So again, this was boiled in vegetable stock for about 15 minutes. So we got all that flavor going into it. That also flavored the stock. We're going to be using that stock was left over. It got very concentrated. That's going to make an onion gravy for us. I'm going to pull these a little bit more this way. Okay, so we're getting these nice strands, and let's put this back in the bowl. And let's get this one pulled. All right, this one I got far enough down, that works well. And let's get this over here. The tip is always hard to do. And we're gonna get that in here. We'll pull out the last these are tied together. Can I pull through that? Why, yes, I can. Okay, good. And again, you see how beautifully you can shred these. Now, before we cooked it, it looked like a lot more mushroom. Once we cooked it, they shrunk. They shrunk back. These were huge when we started, right?
Yes.
So, always like having confirmation. Pull this, pull this, pull this. And then go here, go here. I can hear that cheese salsa bubbling. Hang on. Gotta give it a stir. Nice and creamy. We, like I said, already cooked up our pasta, so we're going to put that in right now. And I'll bring that pot over in just a second for you to see. Now, part of why I like shells for this is because you can get that uncheesed cheese, if you will, all the way into the shell. You get fully flavored. You know, it's not just sitting on top. And I'm going to lower the heat. Stir this up. We'll give it one more stir. We're going to keep it covered and let it go for a little bit longer. In the meanwhile, I am going to grab this plate, park this on, because this is completely covered in barbecue sauce. And we need to give that a taste again. I'm going to come over and show you what it looks like in just a second. There we go. So again, we got this nice sauce. That water that we put in cooked out again. Oh my God, that's so good. All right, so our pudding is working. That flax egg is doing its job. We've got that on low. Give it one more stir before I close it. We're going to do a little fresh pepper on top when we serve it. And get these last ones done here. That one needed to get cut. Okay. I think that should do it. Not quite. Misjudging mushrooms for 1,000. Okay, there we go. We're getting this nice shred in here. Come back this way. All right, fabulous. So, all this can go in there. Now, when we cook these mushrooms, what we're going to do is we're going to get out a pan. We're going to get them over medium-high heat, and we're going to get a little bit of a char on them. So I'm going to grab that pan right now. I'm going to move the barbecue sauce off its heat because that is done. And we'll be adding it to the to the mushrooms as we get those cooked. So let's get this pan going. I'm using one of my steel pans. If you look at Wicked Kitchen, they love cast iron. I don't have cast iron. This does hold a lot of heat, so it'll be absolutely perfect for getting the sear on this. So we're going to get a little bit of oil out. I'm going to wait for the pan to heat up a little bit. And I splashed some water in the pan for my hands, so we're going to see about that in a second. As tasty as that is, taking a spoonful of chili paste is just dumb. Don't do what I did. So, I'm going to clear some space here. Whoo, mama. The heat is strong in that. All right. So, there is so much on this counter. And I ended up not using any more vinegar. I didn't use, actually I need to taste our banana mix. My last tasting spoon. It needs a slurry though. It needs a slurry. Now when you make a when you make a cornstarch slurry, you want to use cold water. It'll cook before you're ready for it otherwise and get clumpy. So just put a little bit in. It's usually about an equal amount of water to cornstarch. Make sure you've got it nice and smooth. Try not to splash it all over the counter, which obviously I'm not good. And that's going to go right in. And I'll do that over here for you to see. And I'll spill a good chunk of it on the counter too, because, you know, that's the way we play it today. And before I get any liquid in this, I'm going to put the cap on the cornstarch. Alrighty. Now we're going to go right back onto the heat, let that cook some more. And what we're looking for is for that to thicken up. Now it is not going to be the regular consistency of a pudding because we're actually using real banana in it. So we're going to have a little bit of a different consistency, but we are going to get it nice and thick because we've got our flax egg in there, we've got our cornstarch in there. The bananas actually have, you know, they have some, I believe they have pectin, if I'm not mistaken, and they should help thicken that up too. So give a little bit of a wipe down, see if this is hot. When we do this, ooh, I was looking for them to dance. They're not dancing all deal. So, because I do want to get this going. Let's, a little bit of oil. We're going to wait for that oil to shimmer. And we're going to throw the mushrooms right in there. Now you're not going to see me throw any salt on the mushrooms. They were in a broth that had some salt. And our barbecue sauce, I'm pointing to the pudding instead, has some salt in it. And this is going to get a little bit splashy because we have water in those mushrooms. We're going to be cooking that out. So we want to get a char here. You want to hear that sizzle. I'm going to give it a quick press down. And we're just going to let that do its thing for a minute. I am out of clean places to put stuff down. So I don't need this on top of there anymore because it's cooked. So again, so you can see the sauce. I'll get a dish to put this in for you. And I know I've got Becca thinking right now, we are going to fill the dishwasher up just from this show tonight. So, yeah, I saw the laughter. That was not appreciative laughter. That was, yeah, you're going to pay for this one. All right, I'll get the rest of the sauce out. But beautiful, nice and thick. And, Becca has not tasted this yet. It is hot, so be careful.
Ooh, that's good. That's different.
Yeah, well, this is because we made it from scratch. Now, normally when we make a barbecue sauce, I'll be honest with you, we cheat. We start with a ketchup, we throw in some sweetener, we throw in some chilies, we make it the way we want it to taste. We did not do that here because it was not an option. So, by the way, I'm going to put this lid on here now just to give this a press. We want to get as much moisture out of these as possible. I'm going to leave the lid sit, and I'll have a towel so I can pick it up in a minute. We are going to pull the pudding over, give it a whisk in front of you, so you can see where we're at. So again, it's not perfectly smooth. It's not going to be perfectly smooth. We have the bananas in there. Most banana puddings don't actually put real, or at least certainly not as much banana in as I did. I just wanted a really strong banana flavor. It will be thickening up more. It's got more cooking, and then when we take it off the heat, we'll get it to cool, and that will come down a little bit. So we're going to give this another press. Now again, we're just trying to get moisture out of these. We want to get a sear on them. That's going to take a few minutes. We are going to give a stir to our mac and cheese. which is thickened up considerably. So let's bring this over for you to see. Now you can't do barbecue without mac and cheese, is my opinion. And obviously, for a kosher barbecue, you've got to have a non-dairy mac and cheese. So I'm going to take a piece. I'm going to give Becca a piece. You can see I'm not left-handed. Here you go. Super hot. Be careful. Black pepper?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Get that in there. Now we are using a gluten-free pasta. This is actually a chickpea pasta. It's Whole Foods. It's OU Parev. That should be enough black pepper. I'm like looking, going, I'm going to talk and keep grinding until I stop. It's like, no. And we'll get that mixed in there. You can use your favorite brand. Obviously, if you don't like shells, use something else. I happen to like the shells, like I said, because when you look at it, you can see that all the noodles have cheese inside them. Well, vegan cheese inside them. Take that out of there. We are going to be scrubbing this later. All right. Just making some space. And put the lid back on there, keep this warm. I'm going to turn that just down to, actually I'm going to turn it off because it doesn't need heat anymore. And get that a wipe. I'm going to turn these. So, let's get in underneath. Now, I'll be honest, we really could have used another whole set of mushrooms. We did not know they were going to shrink this much. But, so we're on our first turn here. Again, we're trying to get a little bit of a char on it. We want to have that little bit of crispness, that little bit of caramelization. And we are pushing the liquid out of it. So these are going to get a little drier, and then that sauce is going to go in just a couple of minutes here. And one more whisk over here. I am going to set up a quick ice bath. I'm just going to do a small portion of the pudding into it. Now, what I'm doing, I'm going to fill this bowl with ice. Just enough for this. I hope you did not get a shot of our overwhelmed freezer.
Maybe.
All right, we're going to put some of this in here. I'm going to turn the heat off. I'm going to let that fall all over the counter. But I just want this to start to cool off a little bit. And I'm going to put a little bit of water outside. You do the cold water with your ice. And that way it gets about 32 degrees around the whole thing, which will help get it cool faster. So I didn't put all of it in here. I just want to get enough to be able to show you. The rest I'll let it cool on its own. And we're going to let this sit for a minute and thicken up. Take a look at our mushrooms. We're going to give those a quick turn. Okay, and one more press. Start to cool this down some more. And yet again, Becca has not tasted it. So it does need to thicken up quite a bit still. But, is it banana pudding?
Oh, yes. Like natural banana flavor, not the artificial flavor.
Yep, that's what I was shooting for. Oh God, that's good. Now, because we were rushing like mad people tonight, I might have underdone the cornstarch. We're going to see. It's going to go out warm, obviously. You can get a non-dairy whipped topping and mix it into it once it's cool. That'll make it more mousse-like, lighten up the texture of the pudding, and also make a more interesting dessert at the end of the day. So let's get one more turn here. I know we're going a little faster on these turns. Just want a little more color on these, and then we're going to go in with the barbecue sauce. And then we'll be ready to plate. Now for plating, we got some pickles on the plate. We were going to do a coleslaw with this. I didn't have time to do my slaw. We'll do that in another one to show you what that's like. But we just want to make sure we got this all together for you. I'll be honest, we start this after I've done a full day of work. It's almost midnight right now. So doing all the prep and everything takes us this late in the day. So we're doing the best we can to get you this. I can put this aside because it is stupid hot. Now we're going to get... I put away that spoon. All right, we'll get another spoon. We're going to get some barbecue sauce mixed in here. And this last little bit takes no time. Again, it's a pretty thick sauce. You could thin it out if you wanted to cook these a little bit longer. Nice thing about mushrooms, they are almost impossible to overcook. So again, if you're doing this for, this is a portion for one by the end of this. But if you're doing it for more than that, we had 3 large king oyster mushrooms. You'll see the picture on the website. I'm going to show you this now. And it cooked down to that with being cooked in the veggie stock. But you want some pickles with that, because what is barbecue without pickles? And you want some mac and cheese with that. And again, ideally, we should have some slaw with that. But the best way to eat this is have some of the barbecue with some of the mac. So we're going to take a little bit from here. Oh my good gracious.
It's hot.
That is super hot. That is super stringy. Okay, so we're going to kind of spaghetti that up. I could have broken that down a little bit more. The pasta, she eludes me. Here you go. Follow to the pickle. Trust me.
So good.
These are bread and butter pickle. I forget the brand. They ROU. But folks, we hope you enjoyed this. The pudding still chilling. It will be firmed up in a little bit, but it is absolutely delicious. It is all natural. No artificial colors, no nothing. I know normally people, when they're doing something like this, they're going to add some turmeric to make it yellow. Good God, you don't need to. It's the skin of the banana that's yellow. Bananas are white. So this is going to be fantastic. We've already tasted it. We love it. And thank you for joining us tonight. Hope you appreciated the madness. We'll look forward to talking to you another time. Take care.